guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Danielle, and on my channel we talk about ghost stories, paranormal, urban legends, all that spooky stuff while getting ready for bed. I do my full skincare routine while I tell you guys something about the paranormal, my fave. But in this video, we are actually going to spice it up, and we are going to be talking about the top 3 scariest urban legends. So if that really perks your titties, then subscribe, leave a like, and don't forget to comment at the end of this video. Okay, are you guys ready for a ghost story? Okay, so we are starting off this video right, and we are starting with an urban legend that I think I might have experienced myself. Okay, so we are starting off with Charlie No Face. Have you heard of this one? Good. So in the 1900s, a boy from Pennsylvania named Ray Robinson was electrocuted by a trolley wire, resulting in a lifetime of disfigurement. Most of his facial features melted right off his face. He was bullied and ostracized and isolated from everybody in town. Different stories have circulated since then, but the people of Western Pennsylvania say that Charlie No Face now haunts Piney Fork Tunnel, an abandoned freight tunnel, and he's also been reported seen walking along Route 351. Some people even think they've had experiences with Charlie No Face, but none have gone even close to this mysterious figure to confirm that it's really him. Even though no one really knows how he got the name of Charlie No Face, he is also known as the Monster of Beaver County. I read that somebody's dad claims that they saw Charlie No Face sitting next to them in their parents' station wagon in the back seat. Right next to them. Like, next to them. I can't even imagine that. And to this day, he says, out of everything he has experienced and seen, it was the most terrifying experience of his life. I mean, yeah. Now it's a tradition for teens to go out and search Piney Fork Tunnel and Route 351 in hopes that they will find the man with no face. Now, a year ago, I shared my story with seeing a man with no face on my TikTok. Okay, so if you haven't heard the story on TikTok, I'll retell it here. So years ago, when I was a teenager and years before my experience happened, a friend of mine told me that she was on this like scary road that like we all used to go to scare the shit out of ourselves. And she was there and this car passed and she looked in the car and she saw a person with no face. And, you know, at the time we thought she was just high out of her mind, and so we laughed it off and just forgot about it. Fast forward to my experience, I was in the car with 4 of my friends. We were dropping off my friend's boyfriend at home, and on our way back to my friend's house, you know, we're driving down the street, I'm looking out the window, and I see this guy in a puffy coat, like one of those big puffy, like New York coats. And I see him, and you know how it's just like natural to like look at somebody that's walking by as you're like looking out the window? Well, I looked at him, and right as we're passing him, he looked dead at me, and he had no face, nothing. Like, I'm telling you, it was smooth. He had no face, no eyes, no eye sockets, nothing. And it was, I literally froze up right then and there as my mind is processing what I just saw. And I turned to my friend. I had goosebumps all over my body. There was tears in my eyes. And I turned to my friend and I said, "Did you see that?" And she's looking at me like, you know, weird. Like, "What's wrong with you, weirdo? Why are you crying?" And I noticed that my friend that was driving was looking in that direction. And he said that he saw it. So I actually have another witness who has also seen what I saw. So I definitely knew I wasn't crazy. And ever since then, I've been hearing stories of other people that have seen somebody with no face and urban legends with people with no face. And since I live in Buffalo, New York, which is only a couple hours away from Pennsylvania, could it have been Charlie No Face? Anyways, before I get off topic, we are moving right along to our second urban legend. And this urban legend is one of the oldest and most famous urban legends of Abbeville, Alabama. It is the urban legend of Hug and Molly. Now, like any urban legend, there's always various versions of the urban legends, any of them. But the most famous version of Hug and Molly is, well, they describe her as a 7 foot tall woman and as big around as a bale of hay or cotton. Now, I'm not really sure what that means. I don't think I've seen a bale of cotton before, but if you have, then you know what they're talking about. Now, allegedly, before Molly became this ghost or urban legend, it was said that she somehow tragically lost her infant in some horrific accident. For generations, people of Abbeville, Alabama were terrified of being out after dark. Mothers would use Hug and Molly as an excuse to scare their kids into coming home on time. They would say, "You better be home before dark, before Hug and Molly gets you." And those dumbass kids believed it. I'm just kidding. I believe there is truth to everything. People would describe Hug and Molly as a very tall shadow that was wearing a black dress with a very, very long black veil. They said that she hid behind trees, stood in the shadows. Why can't I get any of these open? Like I said, she hid behind trees, she stood in the shadows. She walked the streets looking for children, and children only. Now, the actual legend is that Hug and Molly will roam the streets looking for children, and once she finds one, she will run up to them, hug them as tight as she can, and scream in their ear as loud as she can. People who have ran into Hug and Molly have claimed that once she screams in your ear, you have this ringing in your ears for days and days. Okay, wow, this is scary. This is really scary. Oh my god, I look like a clown. Hi, kids! Oh no, my lips fell off. I have no lips. My lips fell off, excuse me. Today in Abbeville, Alabama, there's even a restaurant and movie honoring Hug and Molly. Our next urban legend, I saved the best for last. Our third urban legend is my favorite out of the ones we talked about tonight. And this is the urban legend of the black-eyed children. These demonic-looking children have been an urban legend since the 1960s and have been popping up in pop culture ever since. These paranormal creatures resemble children between the ages of 6 and 16 with very pale skin and big black eyes. These children are mainly seen hitchhiking, panhandling, or they'll randomly show up at your doorstep. Now, just like some tales of vampires, these creatures cannot come into your home unless you invite them in. In 1998, a man by the name Brian Bethel wrote about his own experience with these children. Brian Bethel wrote that one night while he was sitting in his car in the parking lot of a movie theater, two small children approached his car. They both were wearing hooded sweaters with the hoods up, and they looked to be between the ages of 9 and 12. Now, this was very late at night when these kids approached Brian's car, and Brian thought it was odd that these two small kids were still at the movie theaters when no more movies were being played and the movie theater was basically shutting down. Like, where are their parents? But, of course, because they were children, Brian rolled down his window just a little bit, still apprehensive of the whole situation. Then one of the kids asked Brian if Brian could take them to their mom's house so they could get money so they could see the new Mortal Kombat movie. Putting two and two together, Brian suddenly got a very uneasy feeling about these two kids. As Brian started to roll his window back up, one of the boys started banging on the window, saying, "Please, sir, we can't come in until you invite us in." Now, remember what I said earlier? If that was me, I would skirt off and never look back. And Brian's story isn't the only reported story of these black eyed children. There are many, many stories of these creatures. And that's why I think it's so interesting. Like, where are these kids coming from? I think that they're demons posing as children because children, especially the mothers, it's like our weakness. Like, you can't say no to a child. You're not going to leave a child outside if you see one. If a child comes up to you and asks for help, of course you're going to help him or her because they're children. So it's almost like these demons prey on our weaknesses and our fears to get what they want. And these stories probably won't be the last. As I was researching, I saw even recent stories pop up of people talking about these black eyed children. Another story I read about from somebody that was anonymous wrote that one night in her apartment complex, she heard a loud bang in the middle of the night. She thought it was her door that they were banging on, so she looked through the little, peephole and saw that it was actually the door across from her that, somebody was knocking on. And as she's looking in the peephole, she notices that it's two small children, a boy and a girl. And she's watching to see if the neighbor answers. And she was about to open the door, to make sure these kids were all right, when all of a sudden something told her not to open the door. And after she got that feeling, the little girl looked back at her door and she noticed right away that these were not regular children because the little girl had huge black demon eyes. Right away, she was spooked and she locked the door, turned off all the lights, and just locked herself in her room, went to bed, and tried to contemplate what the hell just happened. All right, guys, so that was my top 3 scariest urban legends. If you like it and you want me to keep doing these, you want me to do a part 2, please let me know in the comments. Make sure you like it, and I would be so happy to do a part 2. But if you also liked it, make sure that you subscribe. And what else? I always feel like I'm forgetting something. Check out all my social media. Let me know what you think. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.